And that's what the reveal is all about.
Let's dwell on the UK, because that's where we're here right now, and the whole world has been watching us recently. I actually do want to get your take on the assassination attempt, and I want to get your take on the virus or next virus. But you mentioned Starmer, you mentioned the UK. We've seen riots, we've seen accusations of a two-tier justice system, we've seen the English Defence League pitted against the Muslim extremists and the riots. We've seen the people that have posted on social media sent to prison, or at least it looks like some of them were sent to prison. And the whole world is watching. I get messages from people all around the planet saying, are you safe there? What's going on? Today, for the first time ever, David, I had to think in preparing for this that we could be arrested by what we would be saying. And I didn't have that feeling in 2020, even though we were saying things that were maybe upsetting even more people. What do you see happening in the UK? Is this just a carbon copy of what happens in America with open borders and getting people riled up and divided?
Yeah.
Or is they taking it to the next level here?
You've got to divide and rule your target population, because there's so many of them, compared with ultimately the people in the know compared with you. And so you open the borders and you allow in enormous numbers of illegal migrants who you don't know who they are. You put them up in hotels. You see, let's break this down to the level that this is all happening at, because we see this, we see that, this event and that event, but actually let's get it down to its foundation. If you want to control people that are vastly in number greater than you, you have to control their perception. You have to. Because why do people behave as they do? Because they perceive as they do. And why do they perceive as they do? Because of information they receive. That information could be, a chat down the pub, or it could be the 10 o'clock news, it could be a Facebook post, a Twitter post, or whatever. But we form our perceptions from the information we receive. This is why when you do your own research, pursuing the truth for the truth's sake, you gather a greater amount of research, therefore a greater amount of knowledge, therefore you come to different conclusions. But what they want is their narrative to be the conclusion that the population has. So how do we form our conclusions? From information received. This is what censorship is all about. It's about controlling the information that people receive so that you are forming their perceptions by controlling that information, and from those perceptions comes their behavior. So everything is perceptual manipulation. So when you break it down to that level, because this global cult, sick as it is, and ultimately moronic as it is, anyone that wants to control people as it does is a moron, So let's think this is an all-powerful, all-knowledgeable force. They're basically a bunch of prats if you break it down to the basic level. But what they're brilliant at is manipulating people's perception and predicting how stimulus A will lead to perception and thus behavior B. So on that level, opening the borders to let lots and lots of people in illegally of other cultures. First of all, you grab one massive area of the population, which we can go under the heading of woke, and you tell them that everyone that's coming are families and refugees fleeing war and oppression and deprivation, okay? Well, they're coming from France across the channel, right? But they buy that. So it's all these signs, refugees welcome. Well, no one supports genuine refugees, genuine people fleeing war, fleeing deprivation, fleeing oppression, being welcomed. But that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing overwhelmingly young adult men coming over, and more obviously young adult men all the time.
Same in America.
Same in America, exactly, through the southern border, which is basically open, much of it. And so perceptually, the population sees that and doesn't want it. They become fearful of it. They become fearful of what's the future if this goes on. What they then do, I'm talking about the government, and this is all perceptual manipulation, is they take these young adult men, overwhelmingly, and they put them in hotels and they give them money. And the indigenous population, and I'm not talking just about white people either when I say that, some of them are sleeping in the streets, in boxes. You know, families are struggling to put food on the table. Their kids are going to bed hungry at night. And they see people coming over illegally on boats, which could be stopped, but you've only got to listen to the leaked communications between the French Navy and the border police of Britain. They're escorting them over and handing them over. It's a scam. It's all planned. This has been in my books for absolutely decades, that this was the plan, to open the borders and facilitate this. Why? Because you've got the wokers saying they're refugees. Refugees, welcome, yeah, but they're not overwhelmingly. But that's where they go at. So now you've got those that are looking at, so no, they're young adult men. So now you've got divide and rule between the wokers and the, quote, far right. There you go. And then, people are looking at the putting up in hotels and the money that's given to them and all that stuff. And they become resentful. They become resentful because, well, look at all the deprivation in Britain that's not being dealt with. And now we're seeing this resentment, divide and rule. So now you're having the divide, not just between the wokers and the if you like, the people that can see that something's happening that's not good. You've got now the divide and rule between those that can see it and don't want it, and the people coming in. And then you expand that. If you don't see the bigger picture of what's going on and how we're all being played off against each other, you then start to relate all these illegal migrants coming in with the migrant population in general. And so you become more and more resentful and antagonistic towards them. And you have got exactly what all this is about: turning the population against itself. And I'll say this to the migrants coming in illegally, and to people that support all this. Perhaps you first of all explain how basic services are going to survive, our so-called education, how hospitals and what are going to survive when there's an endless increase in demand because of what's going on.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.